Hey everybody, welcome to Actual Play. We are back with we're back with
We're here.
with more Blue Coats. This is the first episode one for the live stream. We recorded an episode 0, which is on YouTube now, where we made our characters and set up the situation and did that business to get the game ready. But tonight we're going to jump in and play. You may know some of these lovely people that are here with me. I'm John Harper. I'm the designer of Blades in the Dark and this add-on to the game. And the rest of my friends here will introduce themselves.
I'm Andrew. I use they, them pronouns. I am a sometimes game designer, oftentimes Twitch person. Hello.
Hey, I'm Sean. I use he, him pronouns. I'm usually the host of this show, but because John is a saint and willing to do the legwork for me, I'm just gonna be GM in this game tonight. So I'm gonna be running the game, but not hosting the game. Just nice.
I'm Naja. I use she, her pronouns. I am moving states shortly, so my life's kind of a hot mess. And I play a game wherein I am trying to make a cult, but everything's fine.
Yeah, Cultist Simulator, is that what it's called?
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I got to get on that.
That's the subtitle for Blades. That's the subtitle for every Blades in the Dark game eventually, right?
It
Blades
all
in the Dark,
comes back to cult.
How many?
Cultist Simulator.
Yeah. How many?
Sataran Cult Simulator.
It's true. It's true. Oh, and Hellboy's here too. I forgot to mention him. He's over
Nice.
It's good.
there. Hey, what's up?
He's rocking it.
So we're playing Blue Coats, which is the cops of the city of Duskwall in Blades in the Dark. One thing that we said during the setup, which is relevant to know for this session tonight, is by default the Blue Coats are the biggest, meanest gang in the city. They operate like an extortion racket, and if you want to play Blue Coats like that, you can play regular Blades in the Dark and be Bravos and be Blue Coats and be bad.
Yeah, it works well. You don't need to do anything.
Yep, basically plays as is. We have chosen not to do that. We're going to play people who are working a case. And another option you have is to play sort of vigilante-minded police that really want to like change the system and do extra good things, which we've also chosen not to do. We're not that good. We're in the middle. Team status quo, I think, is what Andrew said last time. We'll see how long that lasts. Probably about 2 minutes.
Yeah, first scene. Fucking, I shoot him. Okay.
But we're all Naja and I are playing Blue Coats, and Andrew's playing an Imperial Inspector. We're on a case together, and we're going to find out more about that as we go. But that's the general setup of what we're doing.
Yeah. And you can see I linked our episode 0 with character creation, so you can see our character creation. We spent our time doing it. So these characters have some pretty rich stories already. And I'm going to open up, normally in Blades, and in fact normally in Blue Coats, you'd open up with the starting situation. We kind of bring everyone together, we give them a prompt, and see how they start on what would normally be the score. In this case, is the job. I don't know if we've actually changed the name of it or not, but
It's an operation for
the
Blue Coats.
operation.
Yes, the operation.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
But hey, Fisher, thank you. But this time for this show, because it is very important to us that we see these people in their lives, I'm going to open up with a little short vignette for each character. Hopefully I will not drag this out too long. And we'll sort of see them. And by way of seeing them, we'll also do a little bit of introducing the characters, right? So this will also be like, and here's my character. So Naja, I'm going to start with Janice Schrodinger. So did Janice live with her parents? Does she live with her family?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So you're in Brixton, the crappy tenement housing of Coleridge. The walls are cracked with rivulets of water coming down through the plaster. You're sitting with Kitty, your younger sister, and she's just giddy. She's very excited. and she's telling you about her. It's late at night too. Who knows, right? It's like always dark, but you know it's late, and it's like past probably. It's not really past her bedtime because she works 16 hours a day. So like it's about bed. It's about time to go to bed. And she's there and she's sitting on her little cot. And she has something to show you. And your parents are doing something off. There's not really another room. Just the house is like divided by like sheets hanging from the ceiling. So you can hear them kind of, your mom's sort of chortling, laughing about something, and your dad's futzing with something. And she tells you, I got a promotion today.
You did. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I am. And she's glad to, you can tell that she's glad that you approve. She said, yeah, they said that I'm still small enough that I can fit between the hull plates, but I'm strong enough that I can work the riveter. So I get to go in and help them pull apart the plates and put them back together again. Once we've repaired them. And there's really toxic fumes in there. So I got my own mask.
Wow. And like, there's no like expression of horror on Janice's face at all. She just has her eyebrows up and is nodding in the way that you do with kids.
Right.
And she's just like, wow, are you allowed to bring it home or do you have to keep it there? Do you have it?
And she looks kind of like furtive. And then and like from underneath, like underneath her, it's not a pillow, but like from between a sheet, she pulls it out and she shows you this mask and she holds it up to you, but you can tell she's like covering up part of it. There's like the chin part. She's got her fingers over, like sort of surreptitiously. And she says, yeah, Master Slane gave it to me personally. And she looks kind of like embarrassed or shy. Like you're not really sure. Like there's something she's kind of feeling a little like she's not sure if she should tell you or not, but she kind of wants to tell you, but like she's a little embarrassed about it.
And I noticed this sort of furtive behavior and I hold my hand out for the mask and then say, can I take a closer look at it?
And she agrees. Yes, Taki. Kitty sugar, child labor, absolutely. Whole family is all laborers, but
yeah,
that's. She kind of lets go slowly, and like her fingers just barely cover it. And you see on the corner there's initials inscribed, and it's JS. And you're like, it's not yours. Like you didn't ever own this mask. And she says, and when you take it, she's like, it's Master Slane's own mask. He told me he gave me his own.
And I kind of narrow my eyes at the mask, but I fix my face before I look back up at Kitty. And I say, you be careful with that man.
What do you mean? He gave me his own mask. And that's when you hear the clank. Something in the house like tips over or like slips. And then there's this shattering sound of glass breaking. Your parents are cooking up dream smoke. Like that's part of their contraption. And you hear the shatter, and instantly you can smell what are quite toxic vapors that are, not instantly toxic, but they're not healthy vapors start to waft through the house. And you hear your dad go, shit, fuck, and he's freaking out. And you can see a little light because a little flame has erupted. You can't see the flame, but you can sort of see the light through the curtains. And he's freaking out.
I like unconsciously, in the way that you do, mimic my dad, and I'm like, shit, fuck. So there's this echo, and I hold up the mask and put it on Kitty's face.
Yeah. And
put my arm around her, and I say, we have to get out of here now. God damn it.
When you put it on her face, because she's sitting down, she like looks up at you smiling, like she totally, takes it, and it doesn't fit her right. Like it's not.
Oh, it's not protecting
perfect.
Her.
It's protecting her, but it's not like made for her, right? Like it's not. It could be sized better for her, right? It's okay. It's still doing its job. It's just not like, she thinks it's really special, and it doesn't actually even fit her quite right. So she kind of like adjusts it, and then it seals in, and and you hear the as she breathes through it. And
and I grab her arm and I'd start pulling her out of the house.
Okay, cool. Do you live like below the street level, like on where do you think you're?
We're probably on the street level.
Okay.
I would think between the Dream Smoke and me having a 9 to 5, we could probably afford to be a little bit
All right.
on the level.
Awesome. So as you're going, your neighbors like bang on the wall, like some of the plaster shakes and whatnot. They're like, "Shut up in there!" They tell everyone to piss off, and you're able to get Kitty out, no problem. But your dad is having trouble. What is his injury that prevents him from working in the factory? Like, what physical disability does he have that no longer allows him to work there?
I think he's missing an arm. I think it might have gotten swallowed by a machine.
Awesome. So maybe it's like down to the like he has a little bit of it. So he's clearly like one-handedly trying to like get this under control, and your mom is just blissed out. She's just laughing. She's just like she's looking at it, just chortling, like not appreciating the seriousness of the situation. And he's like trying to grab it and like get it outside so he can throw it all out, because like the batch is ruined. It's a mess.
Yeah, I think I shove Kitty out of the door, and I turn around and like yank down one of the sheet dividers and like start smothering the flame, and I'm like cussing my dad and my mom out.
So he tells you, as soon as you like get close, he's like, no, I got this. Stay out of my way. I got this. I'm fine. And he like tries to like shield it from you in some weird way. He's like, I'm fine. Are you just gonna like help anyway and like put it out, or because he's like, I'll do it.
Yeah, I just override that immediately. In fact, I like kick him behind the knee on one of his legs. I like pull a total cop move and like take him down. And I'm just like, Dad, get out of the way. God damn it. And start patting down the fire.
Nice. So it's this isn't the first time this has happened in the house or something like this. This is the first time a fire is broken out. Let's put it that way. You end up destroying a lot of their product in the process and really hurting your dad's pride. He is looking at you and looking at Kitty, who's like standing outside. Like you got her outside, but she like just went outside. She like she's still looking in the doorway, and she listened to what you said, but only to the letter of the law, as it were. And we cut away as he's just looking at you. He's not quite tearing up, but he has this kind of like you could say a harsh word to him and you'd probably start crying right now because he's so embarrassed. His pride's been shaken. He feels like you don't respect him.
And there's this look of like hopeless frustration on Janice's face.
Yeah.
As she tries to deal with this situation.
Awesome. So cut to as we watch the sort of rivulets of smoke coming out of the house, and the camera lifts above Brixton, where just everybody is packed in like sardines, and kids are playing on the street, but they're kicking some thing that is not a ball. There are occasionally cabbies that go through, but they have to like weave through and sort of shove things out of the way. Everything's incredibly cramped, and the state of life is not dissimilar from the scene we just saw inside of Janice's house. Like that is common, maybe not necessarily drugs, but the dilapidation is common. And we kind of arc up over it, and we see the various above ground rails, and we follow one of the trains as it goes clunking by. And these are not big fancy electroplasmic powered rails of trains of Gattac Rail. These are the coal powered or rails that sort of move product and supplies through the district. And one clunks by, and it goes by the precinct, and we kind of come in, and we still hear the sound of the train clunking by as we see Talk. And on a busy night when you're in the precinct, what would Talk be up to doing? Like when you're amongst everybody else, right? This is a time when you're sort of surrounded by your peers.
Yeah. So Talk is he's a big bear of a guy, a native Scovelander. He still wears like a big beard. It's sort of dark brown, and his blue coat uniform is by far the nicest thing that he owns. So he generally brushes the coat and keeps it in pretty decent shape.
Nice.
And I think we would see him. So he's a native Scovelander. He's not super recent immigrant, but he isn't local per se. And as we established in episode 0, his partner, who was kind of his buddy on the Force, is no longer with us.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he's bonded successfurly with the group yet, except maybe Captain Lomond.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of goodwill there, I think, but he would be put. This is a long-winded way of saying he would be put on some kind of shit detail. Like, I think he's cleaning pistols and rifles in the armory.
Cool.
So he's got his coat off. He's wearing his like suspenders and a undershirt, and it's all like covered in gunpowder stains and gun oil stains. And he's got some rifles taken apart, and he's got the brushes, and he's going through and maintaining the armory.
Nice. And they're poor, right? The quality of these rifles is like you've got like one and there's something jammed in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not all smooth and slick. It's not that scene where somebody's like breaking down their gun and it's like perfect. You're like, oh, the crap, this little piece rolled out and rolled down the table, and you have to go pick it up and put it back. Otherwise it won't reassemble properly.
Yeah, because like the gang, like the real operators in the unit, the guys who are like really on the take and stuff, they all have like really nice personal weapons and stuff. And so the army is just like the dregs that nobody wants to use. But it's got to, it's on the protocol. It's got to be cleaned every, week or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're in there, and Parker, who's who's a patrol officer. Everybody knows Parker. He's a big guy. He's got a big, it's probably a birthmark. It's sort of like this purple splotch that covers up a lot of space, but it goes under his hair. So you're pretty sure it's not like a chemical burn, because then there wouldn't be hair there. Or maybe and it wasn't so bad and the hair grew back through. Everybody knows that he protects the blue, right? Like that's the thing that everybody knows about Parker.
Is he, I refresh my memory, Sean, is he like the top dog in the extortion gang, or is he like an important like secondary tier person?
I think he's I think he's the latter.
He's like a lieutenant kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he comes in, and there's people around you, right? It's not him alone.
Yeah, I think part of the fun is watching me have to do this, right? Like some of the guys are probably like smirking and stuff. So
yeah. Definitely some people are just sitting there watching you do it, doing nothing at all, like picking their fingernails. Yeah. And he strikes a match on the black altar that is in the center of the precinct to light it, the black like basalt stone that everybody does, and he lights his pipe, which is, the place is rich with pipe smoke often, and but he hasn't really puffed on it yet, and he looks and he says, Officer Talk, that was good work there yesterday, keeping everybody cool there. That kid, he had a rock in his hand. What was it, a brick? Who knows? But if he had thrown it, man, that would have been ugly. It's a good job. And he's like, everybody. And he kind of points to everybody. He's like, Talk. He kept the situation cool.
I like put the parts down and wipe my hands on a cloth and like take my pipe out and fit it in and light it up with him. And
yeah, he'll he kind of lights her.
Oh, will he light it for me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll lean in and let him light it.
And
then lean back and kind of smoke and exhale and scan the room. Like
everybody's kind of looking up. They're a little surprised.
Yeah, I am too.
Right? They're a little surprised, and they're kind of all looking up. And he's like, And I mean, the situation he's describing is true, right?
Yeah.
Like yesterday, you had some altercation and you calmed some people down. He said, yeah, I mean, no, you kept that cool, and it's great. But he kind of looks at the guns that you're cleaning, and he's like, and if that kid had thrown that rock, 10 of them, 2 of us, whew, that would have gotten ugly fast.
They were just hooligan kids, Parker.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Just a bunch of shits. Just a bunch of factory dregs.
I smile when he says that, but like not in good humor with him. Just
Right.
like okay.
Yeah.
If you want to play it like that.
I mean, everybody knows that like more and more people in the factory have been. You've had to be getting them to go back to work.
Yeah.
You've had to be putting down these little mini revolt is way too strong a word, but these people that have been upset, and that's a normal part of life, right? Like
Well, and they know I'm a Brogan,
yeah,
right? And is that a thing? Is that like the Brogans are trouble?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But you don't think in this moment he's completely associating you with them.
Okay.
At least-
He's just pushing my buttons.
Yeah, he's just pushing your buttons. And he's like, the talk, if it had gone bad, it would have gotten ugly. Could have been ugly for you. Certainly would have been ugly for those kids. But it could have been really bad. I mean, we got to watch out for each other. And, and he kind of leans into you, but he's not really being quiet. Like, he leans in like he's like, I'm going to tell you this secret thing, but, like, everybody can still hear. And he's like, Talk, I got a line on some real guns for the precinct, some real munitions. And he kind of like pokes the barrel. He's like, something better than this garbage, something to help us be prepared so we can protect the unit. It's good news.
Well, it sure would be an improvement.
Yeah, it would. Only thing is the brass, and he sort of points like through the he's like through the door, and you can see that Captain Lomond is she's meeting with someone from outside the district, some higher up than her is meeting with her in her office. And he's like, the problem is, man, that paperwork's been sitting on Lomond's desk for weeks, months, years, I don't know. And this offer, it's gonna disappear. But I heard you got some money in your fund recently, and all we need is like 2 coin, and you and I, we can protect each other, we can protect everybody in here.
I try to keep a very neutral face when he talks about the fund.
Yeah.
Not my.
You don't know how he knows about your fund. You don't like.
Yeah.
But word travels. Right?
Being subtle is not my specialty. I don't think I do a super good job of that. I probably go like, but I try to keep a straight face.
Yeah.
That does sound too good to pass up, Parker. Although you're gonna have to refresh my memory. I'm a little fuzzy on this stash of coin that I supposedly have.
Oh, come on now. We all heard about the inspector coming to town.
Oh, you mean the
got-
inspector's coin?
Yeah. We know. We. I know you're on the force. I heard.
Well, I hate to break it to you, Parker, but the inspector, she doesn't loosen those purse strings for bluecoats like us.
So you're saying you can't help your fellow bluecoats? You can't help your fellow blues then? And suddenly the mood goes from jovial, friendly to just like it's not like the temperature drops, like there's no, but it's just his face falls flat, and he just sort of looks at you, just sort of stares hard at you, and he's close to you, but not in your face close. He's just leaning in close. He wants everybody to see this and hear this, more importantly.
Not saying that.
So you'll do what you can.
You can count on me, Parker.
All right. I got till the end of the week before these guns disappear.
I'm totally lying, Sean. Do you want me to make a roll?
I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're lying or telling the truth. It's
Okay.
whether you produce the coin.
All right.
You know, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's totally fair.
It's like he's
given
he
his
tells-
ultimatum.
he's told you when you've got the time you've got to prove to him that you care about
Okay.
the Force.
All right.
And and the smoke sort of wafts up from both of your pipes. And we travel again a very far distance this time, and probably some time, because by this time it's now morning. And the only way you can tell it's morning, Uset, is because you hear the foghorns underneath Bowmore Bridge. And you are getting dressed along with Elstera Avrathi, who is she is sitting at her vanity. You're in her apartment, and she's sitting in her vanity, and she's brushing her very long black hair. Her apartment looks nicely furnished, but not personally furnished, as though perhaps this is maybe not where she actually lives, just a place that she has.
Yep. For this purpose.
For this purpose, maybe for other meeting purposes, but like there's very few personal artifacts in there.
Sean, can you tell the audience who this person is? Who may not know.
Yes. The actress who plays. Let me see if I'm gonna get her name.
Oh, I was thinking of just who the NPC was, but yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Who the NPC is? Yes, absolutely. Elstera Avrathi is the ambassador of Aruvia, and she is a powerful figure in both Aruvian and in imperial government, and she's also Uset's lover. As we established in the previous scene, and they have a strong relationship. They have a positive relationship.
Yeah,
so this is going to be
great.
Nothing but good.
What could possibly go wrong?
And she's brushing her hair, and it's been quiet for some time. You haven't spoken, and she breaks the silence and says, "I have a dinner. The Lord Governor is expecting me at a dinner tonight, but I have another obligation."
Yeah, and Uset is like putting on her like inspector. It's not exactly uniform, but she's dressing up in a like professional kind of manner. She's not wearing like super fancy clothes, but certainly much nicer than.
Certainly much nicer than everything we've seen up until now.
Yeah. So she's just like putting the finishing touches on.
Yeah. Would you go in my stead? Bring some civility to the occasion?
Well, Ambassador, I don't know if it's entirely appropriate for me to appear in any kind of official capacity, if that's what you're saying. And Uset like comes over to the, I imagine she's at like a mirror or whatever, brushing her hair.
Sure,
And so
yeah, absolutely.
Just does the classic like hands on shoulders, standing up.
She pauses in her brush stroke when you put your hands there.
Is this a matter of business? State business?
It would be very unfortunate if a high-ranking Aruvian was not to be present at the Lord Governor's dinner tonight.
And there is like a pause while Uset considers.
You should bring a gift. Something expensive.
And she chuckles. Well, I suppose you've got that set aside then for me. On such short notice, my dear. How could I possibly produce a suitable gift?
Oh, I'm sure you would find something appropriate. And it's something about, maybe you feel it in her shoulders. when you're touching her shoulders, maybe it's the cadence of her voice, but there's something about when she said appropriate and the fact that it's the Lord Governor that you know this is a test of some sort. Like, you know that like, and not a test that she hopes you'll fail, but a test just the same. A test that would lead to opportunity for you should you succeed, and who knows what, disgrace perhaps should you fail.
So yeah, Uset like leans in and gives her a little kiss on the cheek, and as she's heading out the door, just says, the only gift that man wants from me is closure on this case that I'm working. I'm not gonna be able to have that for tonight. And she like puts on some like gloves or whatever at the door, but I'll see what I can do. And like tips her hat because she has some like hat for going outside.
Nice.
And then glides out the door.
And her eyes follow you. We see she stays to you, and then as soon as like the door closes, we see like she turns back and her attention veers to somewhere else in the room that we never saw on camera. And she sort of looks over her shoulder. And cool. Yeah. So with those little pieces, anything that you guys want to say? We've had some little bits of introduction, but I see Chad has asked us a couple times, like, who are these characters and what's this stuff? So I think that's when, credits would roll, right? That's when we'd see the opening scenes, which we'll figure out later on in the series. And then we'll open back up in like the sort of the actual starting scene where we would normally sort of kick everyone off. But why doesn't everybody give a little short description of your character and your background, what might not have already come out, before we jump in? Let's go around the clock and start with you, Naja.
You are muted.
Thank you. I am playing Janice Schrodinger, blue coat, Coleridge native, lives in Brixton. My parents, as you saw, make drugs and are generally unsavory people, but it's fine. We just don't talk about it at work. And my little sister, Kitty Schrodinger, works in the factory because I'm trying to keep her on the straight and narrow to the best of my ability and away from my parents' malign influence. But the factory sucks too. So
yep.
There's no good place for Kitty.
She's real excited about having a real dangerous new job.
Yeah. That's not going to turn out well for her, but that's fine.
It doesn't turn out well for anybody.
No. Janice is average height, tan skin. She has long dark hair that she wears braided down her back, and her intent with her appearance is to be as nondescript as possible because Janice does not like to stand out. She does not like to call attention to herself. She just wants to coast under the radar at her 9-to-5 job or 9 to whenever job and not get mixed up in what is exactly about to come mess up her life. So,
yeah. Talk?
I am playing Attic Brogan, who goes by Talk. He is a cis man. His pronouns are he, him. He is from Skovlin, as I said before. He used to be one of the harbor patrol watchmen for Lockport across the sea. He didn't really fight in the Unity War, but he was involved during the many shellings of the port and invasions and counter attacks and all that. He befriended an Akarosi Duskwall guy, Morlin. Is his name Morlin? Yeah, Morlin Skalkallen. And after the war, things in Lockport got even worse than they were before, and Talk has the black lung. We haven't really decided what it is yet, but the toxic fumes of Lockport's Leviathan blood refineries have given him this chronic illness, and so he came to Duskwall to seek his fortune. His old buddy from the war gave him a job with the Bluecoats, and then promptly died after that, so he didn't really have any contacts. But he is a Brogan, and the Brogan family immigrated to Duskwall a long time ago, and they have like a huge clan here in Coleridge. So he's sort of connected to them as the strange uncle from the old country. And what else do you need to know about him? I think that's all for now. We'll get into some stuff about him probably later, but
Yeah.
let's talk.
Yeah. How about Uset?
So yeah, my character is Usit Anixis. She's the child of some Eruvian diplomats. So she's grown up mostly in Imperial City. She's super posh and elegant. She's very short, dark skin, dark hair, dresses very well, always wears glasses, and is very particular and very meticulous, and like doesn't like getting her hands dirty or things like that. She's very, very high and mighty for what she's doing now.
Yeah.
And she is literally in bed with a lot of very dangerous people who are very politically influential and powerful. So what could go wrong?
Nothing. I'm sure it'll all be great.
It's bulletproof.
So, yeah. So as the theme music fades out, and we cut to, basically later on that morning. We open in in an old rail yard, and there's various carcasses of old rusted train cars that haven't moved in probably a decade or more. And there's people that work in this space. There's workers out here. They're either scrappers that are pulling useful parts, or they're repairing or they're working on the functioning rail cars. There's definitely cars that have sort of been just stacked up because they're just not worth repairing anymore, and they try to kind of keep them out of the way so the rails are still functional. Nothing's blocked in them, and you're out in the open. There's people that can see you, but nobody is particularly close as you see you kind of make your way through to your meeting that had been established with Foreman Slane. And Slane has this sort of big, thick mustache. He's starting to bald, and he's got these very sort of broad, like used to be broad, but now slightly sunken in, so slumping forward shoulders. And the rest of that kind of carries down, like sort of meaty hands too. And he's standing in the yard, like even with few people around, he still somehow has someone to direct. Like someone is still just being like, yes, okay, cool. And one of the yard workers like leads you to him. Like this maze of rail, you wouldn't even know the way in. It's not like you couldn't just get up on a tall building and look and see him, but on foot, you're like, how do I get there without having to do like some serious climbing over old stuff? So without having to like, again, do acrobatics, you kind of need to be guided. And this rail worker brings you there, and Slane sees you, and he kind of like eyes all three of you and cracks his knuckles, and he's like, it's morning, officers.
Morning.
And he's clearly like the car that he's standing outside, clearly like the ruined abandoned car he has. There's some of his people like working in there. Like this isn't an abandoned, like once you get close you can see like this clearly isn't an abandoned car, and he's got an office or something like that in there, but he hasn't taken you in there. He's like and he doesn't really pay a ton of attention to Talk or Janice up front. He's just very focused on Uset. He's I don't think you've ever met before, I'm assuming.
No, and she like has been looking around and like has a little notebook out and was like had been like looking at the train cars and like is just now noticing him for the
Yeah.
first time. Like just like looks over and seems kind of surprised to see him. Says and like looks at the
Has she been,
notepad.
like, taking notes as she's gone already? As she's
Yeah, she's like jotted a few
reflecting on
things
that?
about the place.
Yeah.
And probably there's like in the corner of her notebook, it just says like L-R-L-L-R. Like she just tracked the way they came
Nice.
in.
Yeah. You
kinda
could. I think you could totally reproduce it. It's not that labyrinthine, right?
But yeah, just because she does this like kind of compulsively, like notes things. And she like looks up at him and kind of like adjusts her glasses and says, checks the note again. Is it Mr. Slane?
He kind of pinches his mustache and
Mister.
he says, "It's about time they finally sent somebody to get the job done. Somebody up top must really be upset. Have you here?"
I'm not quite
So-
sure what you mean, sir, with regards to the law. Is the law upset?
Janice, like, her eyes just move slightly over in Uset's direction. Her face doesn't change. She just goes back to looking for it.
Extremely same. Extremely same.
It's like that moment of whose man's. That's man.
You see him just like make an instant appraisal of you, of like, okay, fine. So talk, Schrodinger. And he talks to you just like he knows you, and he does know Schrodinger, but he
Yeah.
talks to you as though like this is a regular sort of meeting. He steps in, and he seems to be ignoring you now. What's that? Like he went from like totally fixated on you to just like, cool, you're
Yep.
not part of my life anymore. He says, walk with me, and like starts to like walk down like one of these tracks.
When he turns his back, I look back and I give Inspector Anixis like a deferential look, like this guy's the pits. But I go, whatever you say, boss, and I like fall in behind him. And
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably do the same.
Yeah, Uset like follows along in the back, still just like jotting things down.
Cool. So he's looking to, the way you walk down tracks are 2x2, right? So he's looking to see who's going to like step by his side.
Not me.
I totally do, unless Uset steps in front of me.
No, yeah, she's just like she doesn't know that that's what you do, so she's just
Right.
walking.
I don't go right next to him because I'm like a head and a half taller, so I kind of hang back and look down and like make it look like he's got his blue coat escort or whatever he wants the
Yep.
scene to look like.
It seems to be what he wants it to look like.
I
It's like
step
just
into
trailing
position
us
and-
around.
Yeah.
And he says, so it's getting worse. And I assume that the reason why the brass sent an inspector all the way from Imperial City is to get a hold of the situation. And he says this like to Uset as though no one knows this, which is maybe talking down to you, but it's also me as GM doing exposition. So it's both him being insulting and exposition. He's like, the workers, the workers have always complained and whined, and they've always gotten a fair deal and gotten paid at the end of the day. And the sensible ones go back to work, and the ones that can't see sense become delinquents, end up on the street. Whoever knows what happens to them, probably end up in Iron Hook. Shame. And that's the way of things here, and it works out for everybody. Everyone's taken care of, and he kind of like elbows you, like in this, like like, hey, yeah, cool, we're taken care of, officer.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
kind
got-
of like look. I try not to do this in a really pointed fashion. Again, I'm very bad at this. I'm happy to roll with 0 dice, but there's like utterly destitute people scrounging for scraps.
Yeah,
15 feet away in the wreckage of a car, and I look directly at those people and I say to him, yeah, everyone's doing just fine.
Janice is gritting her teeth silently.
And yeah, who says to Janice, like, who is this man again? And like she's like flipping through her notes and she's like lost track of who this guy is.
Right.
You know what?
Say it loud enough that he can hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
I am totally relating to him right now, Sean. I really want to do it.
Oh, you want him to actually believe you're...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to like get him talking and put him at ease to some degree.
Sure.
Actually, am I relating? Let me look at my actions here.
Yeah.
I think I am relating, actually.
Because then I'm going to do the opposite and try to get a rise out of him so that he reveals something he shouldn't.
Yeah.
That'll be perfect.
Yeah, I'm bad at this, but this is what Talk would do. He would like say something sarcastic, but like expect to fool Master Slane. You know, like, yeah, we're totally on the same side, right? But you know, I have 0 dice. I can roll 2 6s.
Well,
It'll be
so
fine.
the good news is, he's not necessarily overly concerned with whether or not you agree with him or not. He just do.
Right.
So there's not a lot of risk here. I think this is controlled.
Okay.
But getting on his good side is very difficult. So
Are you saying 0 effect?
no, limited.
Okay.
I mean,
I'll
limited
take it.
in that it's it basically will last the effect of this meeting, and then it's gonna disappear. Like just like he forgot Uset, he's gonna forget you after this. Like you can maybe butter him up now, but you haven't won him any favors. Now you can push, as you know, to further, but that's the startings if you try to relate to them.
I don't think I'm gonna push myself. I am open to a devil's bargain if there is one here.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have a devil's bargain. You're a Brogan, and he knows you're part of the family. But he also knows you're new and you're not related. Like he's very savvy to what's going on in the world. So as long as you're willing to like shit on the Brogans, be like, yeah, my family or the other Brogans, or like bring your name into it as like, you know, rabble rousers, because we all know it's the Brogans that are causing trouble. And he is so far not affiliated you with them. But if you're willing to distance yourself from them, like overtly, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, just betray your family.
Just
Disparage their name.
Subtle, disparage is more true than betray. Subtle betrayal.
I can't take that devil's bargain.
Okay.
Sorry.
fine.
It's a good one, but I would not do that.
You would not.
I would like expose myself as a Brogan, but he already knows that, so I can't use that as leverage.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything new to him.
No, yeah, of course not. Okay, cool. Well, 0 dice it is. Unless someone's helping me. No, is anyone helping me?
I don't think I'm going to roll a separate action after you, so I will have my being deliberately obtuse with this guy who thinks he's important and constantly like needling him and being like, I'm sorry, what was your name? I'm sorry, why do you matter?
We can do a group action if you want.
I mean, I'll help you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Like, I'll give you a helping die.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'm very much trying to not get his attention on me.
Oh! I have another devil's bargain for you, John. Oh,
Okay.
a slightly less painful one, a slightly less personal one.
Okay.
And that is just, I mean, you guys already have the reputation of Dunville's lackeys, right? You have the reputation that you're here for the nobles. There's
Right.
plenty-
We're supposedly working for Slane's boss, effectively.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people here that are seeing you, and he is actively parading you around. He's walking you all around to be like, see what I got, to all these people.
Right.
So, if when one of them makes eye contact with you, you don't flinch, like you let them, you don't avoid. It's subtle. But
Yeah.
if you noticed as like walking around with Slane, then and you're willing to like walk it aside. I think the way this would look is you step ever so slightly forward. You just kind of, instead of standing behind him, you just sort of step up to his side, like I'm walking side.
Yeah, you figured it out. I will take that one, even though it's real bad.
Yeah. And that's the I start a clock of they're in Slane's pocket.
Yeah.
Or that's what everyone believes.
Yeah, that clock could like our relationship to the local citizens could be at stake on that clock potentially.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a clock that will hurt your status with the Coleridge workers.
Yep, I'll take it.
We're in bed with the bosses.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll go 0 dice to 2 dice. I mean, I'll take that. But that's a.
All right, I'm checking one box right now for the Devil's Bargain.
And the best part is, if you fail this roll, it will all have been for nothing.
How big is that clock, Sean?
It's 4 ticks.
Of course. Okay. Here we go. I relate to Master Slane. We're cool. We're buddies. He can talk openly. He doesn't need to hide anything from us. We're pals.
I mean, you're gonna get a different story from him.
It's a success. I got a 4.
You got a 4. All right. You 4 uncontrolled is always the one I have to look up. I don't know why. I know exactly what 4 unrisky is because
that's okay.
It still includes the option to push, but it's not.
This one is slightly different from the others.
Exactly. I gotta look it up, and here's when I see if my you hesitate, withdraw, or try a different approach, or else do it with a minor consequence. A minor complication occurs, you have reduced effect, you suffer lesser harm, or you end up in a risky position. So you have the choice right up front. You know, as soon as you take that 1/2 step forward, some chemistry changes.
Mm-hmm.
And he, out of the corner of his eye, he absolutely sees it. And you're like, do I really want to get in bed with the devil?
So are you saying you're pushing me to 0 effect, but I can roll risky to win it?
I'm saying you can. Yeah, well, I'm just saying you can withdraw and try a different approach, or you can do it with the consequence. And the consequence, I think is exactly. I think is you succeed with 0 effect.
But I can push for risky and try it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
or you can resist that. You can resist the reduced effect.
Oh, totally true. Absolutely
and
true.
You can just be like, nope, I'm just going to resist that reduced effect.
So Uset, how, like, we didn't on screen, like, what did you do to help me?
I'm the point of contrast, right? You're being like, yep, we're with you here.
Mm-hmm.
You as like a blue coat, and then the inspector, or me as the inspector, I'm playing the bad cop in this situation, essentially, in this interrogation of this dude, where I'm just like, I'm sorry, who are you?
You know what?
Like,
I take
why
it
is he important?
It's making me look better.
Exactly.
By
I take it back. Sorry, the consequence should not be the 0 effect. No, you keep the effect. The consequence is that he ices out Uset. He's already a little bit done it, but this seals the deal that
he's not going to deal with her anymore.
He's going to deal with.
Right. It's just me or just the blue coats, arguably.
Exactly, which is going to make your job Uset much more. You know he's your point of contact. You know he's the person you're supposed to be working with. Now, you can certainly go over him. Like, there's always around Slane, but he's a prominent figure, and if he won't talk to you, like, beyond just in this first little meeting, if he doesn't want to talk to you in the future, it's going to make your job more difficult.
This is a really good consequence, Sean, because I now, my character has an opportunity to resist that, which essentially like shows his loyalty towards Uset, and like is like, no, she's okay too.
Yep. And the way it looks is like he like pulls you in just that little bit closer.
Yeah.
Like, it's you and I, and fuck them.
Or I mean, it's like loyalty is a question of resistance here, but there's also a tactical component where maybe it's good to have her on the outside and to have this contrast, and for him to like overly trust the blue coats. I think that's probably not the way Talk thinks about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's so hard to choose whether to resist this or not. Let me ask Andrew.
It is a minor consequence. It's not like you couldn't just.
I know, but this is like relationship defining shit right here.
Yeah, totally.
Andrew, how have you acted towards Janice and talk up to now? Like, what's been our like interaction like?
Inspector Anixis is very cold
Okay, I get
and
it. Okay.
like clinical and professional.
Yeah. All right. I don't
You have been
resist.
assigned to her detail, and she has like given you tasks,
Right.
and she's not trying to be anyone's friend.
Excuse me, Inspector Anixis. Thank you for telling me how you have behaved up to this point, sir, ma'am, captain, inspector. So I do not resist that. No, Anixis can be on the outs. That's fine.
I love it. I love it. Okay, cool. So you took this devil's bargain. You stepped up to stand by his side. You felt this like icy tension of like, you want to dance with me? You want to be in my inner circle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's be real clear where that circle is defined. It's real tight. It's us. And Janice, there's nothing saying whether or not Janice is like part of, like, could be part of it or not. She's not at the very moment, but she's certainly not, just from his body language. You know, if she came up on his other side, this would not disturb anything. But if Usyk came up on his other side, the conversation would stop. You just stop talking. Right? Like, and anyway,
Sean, I'm going to take a stab here and
Yeah.
try to cement this. And in Scovelish, I'm going to say a little proverb, something like the people you keep close around the hearth are the people that are there in the winter. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Assuming that Uset doesn't speak that language, which she totally might. I don't know.
So
but-
do you speak Scove? Do you speak Ireland? I mean,
I don't think she has ever been assigned there.
All right.
So she might know a little bit. She like dabbles in languages.
I mean, I imagine that she, as sort of the prodigal child that was brought to be a diplomat, I could see her being taught it. Maybe she hasn't actually.
yeah, she's a little, probably quite rusty.
Yeah.
Anyway, I use that as a way of like winning the 4 I got on the roll with Slane. Like, like we can talk, without the inspector can,
Yeah.
whatever.
Claim that mixed result. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he clearly understands it, whether it's because he speaks Scove and he knows it, or whether it's because he's heard that said other times, because it's sort of a traditional thing. I think in the way that you still like, the first thing you learn is like swear words in other languages when you're around people. Like,
Yeah.
I think also sayings are probably another thing that you
Totally.
learn. He understands it enough to be like, to nod, and he like looks at one of the kids that was staring at you, and the kid just like bolts. He was like, he stopped doing what he was doing, and he just like dives behind some rubble or old car, and it's like, yeah, no one's watching. No one's gonna be questioning us right now. Cool. So you succeeded. You got him to open up in this moment.
Yes.
Maybe you could cement that to last longer.
Sure.
So yeah, there's like a little tiny bit of distance opens between you and the others, and he says, "No, it's not your family. Are you wearing your blue coat right now?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I know it's not your family. Trust me, I understand. This is the family. This is your family." And he tugs at your lapel, your collar. Or maybe it's like, yeah, it's fine. Like,
Yeah, it's fine.
he's like, "This is your family. I know, but the Brogans, they got to be put down. Sure, that can't be easy for you, sharing a name and all, but making too much noise. The problem is, when a few crickets are chirping, you can squash them. When too many, hurts us all."
I sort of like swing around, so I'm facing Uset and Janice and like catching up to us. And I lean down and I'm like, is there anyone in particular I had in mind?
Well, they're having a gathering tonight. the gathering is gonna start peaceful. It's gonna start with a few people standing on their crates, shouting about the injustices as they always do. And then about our chains, it's gonna get a little uglier. And one of Brogan's loudmouths, Topper, he'll be up there. And left unchecked, damage is going to be done to my establishment, and work's going to be stopped. And we can't have any of that.
Understood. Inspector.
Yeah, and she's like caught up and looks up from her notebook.
I was just talking to Master Slain here. Seems like everything's in order. And I kind of check with him like,
Oh yeah. I mean, you've connected with him to the point where if you say understood in that way, like he thinks you're game. He also doesn't feel like he asked you to. He doesn't feel like he asked you to stab your cousin, right? Like
which he totally did.
I mean, well, your cousin's friend.
My cousin's friend. Fair
Like
enough.
that.
Fair enough.
Like he'd stab his cousin's friend. I mean, he probably
Who
stabbed his
wouldn't?
cousin.
I mean, yeah,
Fuck that guy.
yeah.
But
If I can gracefully disconnect from him, if he feels like he's gotten his intentions
think so.
across,
I feel like you connecting with him again in this moment means that you can also disengage without too much difficulty.
if he has more to say, that's great. But if not, then we can have a family
There's
meeting.
More you can pry out of him, but he doesn't have more to say.
Okay.
You know,
I'm not pushing my luck any further. I'm not prying any more out of him personally. I don't know what they're doing.
But you have given him and the people around you in your immediate vicinity there is one more thing he wants to say. Like you say this, and he's like, and he leans in, and he's like, people don't remember lessons unless they hurt. Let's make sure they remember not to do this again. There we go.
Nice. Okay.
Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Not forget his core nature.
Yep.
But yeah, he totally feels like he doesn't necessarily feel like you're buddies. He feels like you understand. Like
Okay.
This is how things work. And with that, do you guys want to do you guys want to take a break and then see how you what you decide actually to do?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Nice. All right, we will be back in a few.
All right.